Good evening, gang. David Gupple, Thinker Farmer here. It's Friday evening. It's late July. We actually just had a rainstorm today, kind of unexpected, and I was finished up with the bulk of my work a little bit about lunchtime, getting all the moves and everything set. It's my weekend on duty, and for about a month now, I have wanted to do a YouTube video on a topic kind of dear to my heart, and this to me is just the perfect view to try to encapsulate or explain it. So I'm here in the dairy barn field at the Archwood Farms, not that far from where I'm off duty. I'm got a really nice housing arrangement pretty close to our farm store. And anyway, here in the dairy barn field right now, beautiful view, and it's hard to see, but we're actually having a pretty major water and fencing improvement going on in the field right now. And right across the road from the dairy barn field, you can kind of see in the distance over there, we've got a really large cornfield. And it's very extensive. I think it's split up into a couple different pieces, but there's more of it over there. The corn is just tasseling, and what went through my mind as I look essentially over the fence row at essentially a monoculture corn crop, and then look back and maybe even look down at what to most people is a very humble thing called grass. It's essentially, though, what you see on the opposite side of the fence, a cornfield, and this side of the fence, just a pasture, really represent two totally different paradigms. And, you know, right now in the U.S. today, we've got a lot of land in row crops. And there's a lot of soil degradation that is going on there. We've got a lot of soil erosion that has happened, certainly over the last 100 years. Really, it's hard to say this, but it seems wherever we've moved in, you know, essentially as westward expansion happened and into the American heartland, it feels like soil erosion and degradation has just been a part of just the way the cookie crumbled, if you will. And with that soil degradation, with all of these row crops, has come insecticides and herbicides, and insect wildlife has suffered. Bee populations have disappeared. Not getting into the details, but the chemicals have messed with the ability of the bees to communicate and perform their life functions. And a lot of it, like I said, a lot of erosion has happened from a biological standpoint. If you were to look at the soil biology, you wouldn't just see loss of nutrients in the soil chemically, but you would actually see that soil life has declined. If you were to go dig down into this grass here, especially if you find a cow manure pat, which it's been a while, so you'd have to search. Most of the manure pats would be consumed by the soil life at this point, but you can probably find some earthworms, especially if you go over in that tree area over there and find a dead limb and you dig underneath it, you'll find some earthworms. You go across the road there, get in that cornfield, you're not going to see or find very much soil life. It's just not there. The soil is biologically dead. And this story has played out itself across the American landscape. You know, you have not only soil ghost towns in the heartland of America, but you have community ghost towns. You have essentially maybe calorie-rich kitchens, but food-barren kitchens. You have in the Midwest of America, the heartland of America, gang, is bleeding right now. I've spent enough time there in my farming journey just passing through and also living and working that area to know. I'm going to say that again. The heartland of America is bleeding right now, gang. We have farm communities and communities that are now ghost towns. It takes 3 or 4 counties now to make a baseball or a basketball team. The people have moved away. The money has dried up. Farms have gotten bigger and bigger. And disclaimer, gang, I know this video is going to go a little long. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of things I want to cover in it. And the reality is, you look at this grass here, it's pretty humble and pretty simple. And you compare it to corn over there and think about it. This grass doesn't take any fossil fuel. It takes the sun. It takes solar energy to make it work. And the corn, it takes fossil fuel to grow it. It takes fossil fuel because it's such a high amount of calories in that grain. You can justify, especially with subsidies, you can justify using fossil fuels to not only grow the crop, but you can also justify using all that fossil fuel to ship or truck literally semi-truck loads of grain out of the American heartland to other places. Grass, it doesn't take much fossil fuel. It doesn't really take any. And there's not really any corporate profits involved in that, though. And for me, thinking about this, thinking about, the loss of, it's sad enough to think about the loss of soil life, the loss of earthworms, the loss of insect populations. But then you start thinking about communities, of actual human communities, because humans are a part of nature. Actually just being absent, that's what really hits home to me, is just the fact that our countryside and our country is being depopulated. Wendell Berry wrote the book, The Unsettling of America, and that is still happening today. And whenever people hear about problems, I'm going to kind of change gears here as we move along. People like to think that if there's a problem, the government should fix it. But if we study history, we know that 100 years ago, I won't go into the details, but you know that 100 years ago, the former NRCS, known as the Soil Conservation Service, the head of it, said that America's soil resources were inexhaustible. The head of our Soil Conservation Service 100 years ago said that our land resources were inexhaustible. And what followed was the Dust Bowls of the 1930s and the Great Depression. So to say that our soil is inexhaustible, though, that was the paradigm 100 years ago. And the British statesman Winston Churchill said once that if you're going to look far ahead, you must first look far behind. So if you study history, gang, technology, times don't change all that much. People don't change. People are people. We know government cannot fix these problems. We see that in the past, and that's the reality, will be the reality 100 years from now. And it's also something for people to realize that what has caused these monoculture crops of corn and soybeans and all the chemicals that come with them to dominate the Midwest, and to a degree result in the depopulation. Well, what's caused all this or encouraged all this is a lot of government subsidies. So does it make any sense that government that is essentially by its policies supposedly to help the farmer, that their crop subsidies and all of their policies, their farm bills that make sweeping changes across the heartland of America, how does that follow that the government is going to fix our soil problems with grants or other things? It's not going to happen. Now, some people would say, oh, government needs to be reformed, and if we just have a strong leader in our society and also for our farming communities and to put things in order, if we just had a strong executive, dare I say it, a president, we could fix problems. Gang, our founding fathers, it'll be 250 years next July 2026, they understood that laws mean nothing without good people. So you need to forget about the government. Government cannot fix these problems. The solution, gang, and this is where I'm going to put my perspective in on it, my 2 cents worth, is that any solution to the soil beneath our feet, it starts with the person wearing these shoes taking individual responsibility. That's the root cause. Each of us needs to look in the mirror. And I'd tell you there's really just two worldviews that are at play here. There's a worldview that is behind that cornfield across the way. And there is a worldview that is involved in grass farming here. And if I was to summarize them, I'd really say that one worldview is about short-term, short-sighted thinking. The other worldview is about the long-term. And you can look at this moment or you can look at the end game. And I'm going to take a brief 20 seconds here and just say I am not against conventional farmers. There are a lot of really good conventional farmers out there. What I am going to say I'm against is the conventional big ag corporate paradigm and what it has evolved into today. And one paradigm says that bigger is better, that perception is reality, and this worldview seems to extend out in life. It says that truth is relative and that anything goes. The other counterpart, the more long-term view of thinking and of nature and of life, says that actually bigger is not better, better is better. It says that reality is reality and that truth is what God's word says it is. There's essentially the root causes to these different results that we see on the landscape. I think it really, what causes all this is that these two different paradigms have two completely different value systems. So one says one thing's the truth, one says the other thing. And the result is you have two different value systems. One value system says that efficiency is everything. We need more money. I want free time and I want more, period. And debt is okay to use to get to your destination really quickly in life. And it results in frantic living. It results in community disruption and fragmented families across the board, certainly in the heartland of America. And ultimately, I think the root cause of it is pride. And the alternative value system says that life is not about efficiency. Life is about effectiveness. It's about doing what really matters and having more relationships in your life, serving and loving your neighbor, and then really acknowledging the idea of free time is a lie, because as John Wayne said, there's no such thing as free. So we don't have free time. We just have to spend the time we have wisely. The way my mom would have said it is that you need to live today as if it was your last, because it really could be. And if I was going to give credit to any farmer that kind of cued me into this, I'd have to say it's Greg Judy. He told me first time I was in his house for dinner with Greg and Jan, and I asked Greg, I said, Greg, why is this conventional paradigm that takes all this acreage, puts it in monocultures, and then we try to feed all this corn to animals, why is this conventional paradigm still the normal? And he said, David, it's because of the pride of us as men that we don't want to admit we're wrong about things and change when we need to change. And I think that really hits the nail on the head. Anyway, I wanted to make sure I covered a bunch of different things. I think I'm going to wrap this video up pretty quickly, and I'm simply going to say that, gang, each of us have to make decisions for ourselves. And some people would say change is too hard, and things can't be changed in the world today, that it's the 21st century and, you know, people are people. But I'm just going to say that change is inevitable. Nature is always changing. Societies are always changing. And just because we live in an imperfect world doesn't mean we should settle for second rate. It doesn't mean we should go for second best. We should always make the best decisions, make the right decisions, even if there are imperfections in the world around us. And improvement and change, you know, in summary, changing this system of agriculture in America today and changing life, it is not something that we can rely on an external force or a government or a strong leader, an executive. That is not how change is going to happen. It happens one person at a time, and it happens one decision one day at a time. So wrapping this video up, recently I went through a 7-part series called the Farmer Self-Assessment Series. It took a few months to get through it, essentially looking in the mirror as a farmer. And I'm thinking now about other topics. I'm going to continue to share other videos as kind of as the story and kind of in the field as we go through the season. But I'm going to be thinking about other topics that I can share with the channel. And I genuinely, that's the goal of this channel, is to help other people in their journey. Hopefully you can learn from my journey, just even if it's just learning from mistakes I make as I explain things I do and the mistakes I make, and just what happens. So I'm going to conclude by saying to the channel, if anybody wants to comment, maybe there's a technical detail I need to share, maybe there's a specific topic about the bigger picture of things that I've overlooked or forgotten to share, I'm welcome to hear comments, or you're welcome to chime in. If you don't want to, that's fine. I might shoot myself in the foot because I can only respond to so many comments. I'm going to be coming up with my own source material that I think I need to share. And yeah, gang, think in the long range. Don't think about just where you are today. Of course, you only have today to live. But don't just, even though you live in the moment, and that's important, you live today, you don't live for the moment. Think about the end game. And with that, blessings for the journey, gang, and keep it real.